Hi, I'm Sammy Murrian, film critic for FilmBook.com. Green Room is a film from writer-director Jeremy Saulnier, and this stars Anton Yelchin and Patrick Stewart and Imogen Poots. The plot of this movie is a punk band and white supremacists and fight. I'm not even kidding. This is about a punk band of young kids who take a gig in Portland, Oregon, only it's a gig run by violent Nazi white supremacists. They witness a crime that they shouldn't have witnessed, and they get held hostage, and it quickly escalates into an all-out standoff and bloodbath. Okay, this is the second film from Jeremy Saulnier. His first film was Blue Ruin back in 2013. Blue Ruin was a very Coen Brothers-esque thriller about a man who goes on a quest for vengeance after his parents were murdered. Only this man is super incompetent and like a terrible assassin. It was a really unique movie. It was filled with this terrific black humor, and it also had some serious emotional resonance. I thought that Blue Ruin was a great movie. Therefore, I was let down at first when I saw Green Room. When the lights went up, when I first saw Green Room, I was a little let down, I gotta be honest, because I wanted it to be Blue Ruin, and it's not. It's just not. However, what Green Room is a straight-up midnight movie. Whereas Blue Ruin was thematically richer and actually had some emotional resonance, Green Room is purely a nuts and bolts, exploitation, straightforward, action horror thriller. Here's the thing. It is a great midnight movie. I saw this movie a couple days ago, and I've had some time to think about it, and I really think I appreciate it a lot more. This is what it is. This is an exploitation film. This is a midnight movie. This is a Grindhouse film. But it is an absolutely great midnight movie, and let's celebrate it for being that. Usually these kind of movies, these super straightforward, exploitative, action horror thrillers, especially these days, you pretty much just see them on like Netflix or some other far reach of the internet, and they have terrible production values, they're by nobody directors, horrible acting, and they're just trash. Midnight movies and Grindhouse films became particularly popular in like the 1970s, 1980s, particularly at, drive-ins, when you had to go to the theater to see most movies. A lot has changed since then. Most recently, Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez released a movie called Grindhouse back in, I think, 2005. It was an attempt to recreate these exploitative, violent action movies and horror movies from the 1970s. But the whole thing was pretty misguided in that Robert Rodriguez, in particular, his idea of how to successfully recreate that kind of Grindhouse movie, that kind of exploitation midnight movie, was to make a really terrible movie and destroy the production values. Look at Planet Terror, which is Robert Rodriguez's half of the Grindhouse film. It's terrible. It is an awful movie, and it knows that it's awful, which makes it boring on top of that. And it looks like crap. They digitally made it look like crappy film stock. That is a very misguided attempt to recreate the feeling of a midnight movie from the 1970s. Death Proof, the Quentin Tarantino segment from Grindhouse, was better. It had a great car chase, but it still had a lot of problems. What Jeremy Saulnier has done here with Green Room is to make a shameless midnight movie, only with absolutely top-of-the-line talent and production values. This is something that is worthy of being celebrated. The characters in this film are well drawn, and the juxtaposition of a punk band versus white supremacists is as entertaining as it sounds. This is also just suspenseful as all hell. I was on the edge of my seat from about 20 minutes in until the very end. I was on the edge of my seat. This is particularly because of just an absolutely top-notch screenplay and top-notch directing from Jeremy Saulnier. This guy is definitely not a flash in the pan. He didn't just have one great movie with Blue Ruin. I mean, this guy is a damn good filmmaker, and I can't wait to see what he does next. This movie is also really great and really suspenseful because of the performances. Everyone in this movie is great. Anton Yelchin is very good. Imogen Poots is terrific. She's kind of this punk rock Barbie with a terrible haircut who's super tough and murders a lot of people, and she's a standout. However, the best performance of this film, it should go without saying, is Patrick Stewart. Patrick Stewart goes completely against type. I mean, North Pole, South Pole against type, as the ringleader of this band of white supremacists. And he is great. I mean, I've never seen Patrick Stewart do anything where he was playing evil, much less in a movie that is this disgusting and gory. Patrick Stewart was absolutely perfect casting for this movie, and I absolutely cannot imagine any other actor making this character. He brings this method and reason to this very, very, very evil man. He's a very quiet, very quick-thinking, and very methodical person. And it's chilling, and it's just a great villain performance. And whereas the very misguided Death Proof thought that the way to make a good midnight movie, a good Grindhouse movie, was to make it look like shit, this movie is gorgeous. This is absolutely gorgeous. The cinematography is bloody gorgeous. Emphasis on bloody. I mean, for a movie that is just filled with ugliness and relentless gore. Here's an idea. If you don't like gore, don't see this movie. Just don't. You're not gonna like it. But for a movie that is just filled to the brim with ugliness and violence and horror, it is bloody gorgeous. It's got a very washed out color palette, save for a lot of neon. There's a lot of neon lights throughout this movie. I even noticed the exit signs in this compound where the standoff takes place. Whether it's been color corrected or whether it was shot live this way, the exit sign in this building is bright pink. This movie looks like a candy-coated nightmare. Saulnier has a wonderful way of... It's very reminiscent of the Coen brothers, again, of subverting audience expectations and completely throwing you for a loop. You think that something's going to happen, and then the exact opposite happens. And he also throws in things that are just so unconventional for a movie like this, and show that, you know, this is being made by someone who's actually a very smart man and wants to, you know, explore what you can do with a movie like this. There's a great moment where one of the villains, right towards the end of the movie, just goes, "I want to go to jail." I've never seen that, especially in a movie like this, but I was like, interesting. Very interesting. You get points for that. This movie is funny. This has a steady undercurrent of very, 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 very dark humor. In fact, I'm going to show you just what shade the humor in this film is. Yep, that's it right there. This humor is just absolutely sick. But it's funny. I laughed out loud a few times, and I was on the edge of my seat. This is not as great as Blue Ruin was, but it is truly a great midnight film. If you like this kind of thing, like, run, don't walk, because this is the cream of the crop of violent exploitation, action, horror thrillers. I'm going to give Green Room a B+. Thank you for tuning in to FilmBook Review. Please comment below and let us know what you thought of Green Room. Subscribe, find us on Facebook, find us on Twitter, and take care, everybody. Bye!